Welcome to Shark River Machine. My name is Steve, and in this video we're going to finish up the Tom Lipton Chamfer Fixture build, and I'm going to be surface grinding it and bluing it. So here is the completed machine piece. I'm going to take you over now to the surface plate, and I'm going to set it up to grind it. If you recall from the last part on this series, I had surface ground the bottom of it, mainly because once it was all machined, there wasn't going to be a decent way of setting it up to get a good surface finish on this. So I did that first. So now this is my datum for making sure that the rest of the block is square and parallel to it. So I'm going to go over it with my precision ground stones first. Ooh, I can feel there's after banging around on the milling machine, it's got some nicks on the edge. It's got a bad spot on the corner. If you end up with a spot a nick that's particularly heavy, you can actually put some extra pressure, put your finger right over it when you're doing it, and that'll help to relieve it. And there's also on this edge here a little bit. I'm using the coarse side initially. Now I'm going to use the fine side of the stone to finish it off. That's good. Okay. Now I'm going to check the other surfaces with the square. This isn't a precision piece. I want it close, but it doesn't have to be precision. I'm going to take and mark the sides in the order that I'm going to be grinding them. Of course, the base is already ground. I'm going to do the top first. That's going to be number 1. Now I'm going to check this side versus the front. And I can already see, I think you can see the light is coming through at the top. So it's pretty tight at the bottom. It's fairly loose at the top. Now I'm going to turn it around and try it on this side. The front seems to be perfect. This seems to be perfect. So the second surface that I'm going to grind is the back, because I'm going to lay it on that front surface. So that's number 2. Now I'm going to check the ends. That's square to the front. That one's open a little bit at the bottom. And that end's perfect. So this side here will be number 3. Then that side will be number 4. And once those sides are done, then I'm going to come back. After those sides are done, I'm going to blue it. Then I'm going to come back and grind this surface. So let's go over to the surface grinder and get that set up. Okay, I've already had the surface grinder running, and I've warmed up the spindle on it, and I've also dressed the stone. But what I am going to do now is go over the surface with my precision ground stones. I can feel some rough spots. I do this each time I use the surface grinder. I've already gone over the front face of this with the precision ground stones. Now I'm going to lay it on here, because that was the good surface. Now you can see I've got an overhang here, and what I'm going to do with that is take and just put one of my adjustable parallels under there, just to hold it so that it can't tip as I come out. The chances of it moving are slim to none once the magnet, I mean, it's not going anywhere, but I thought just as an extra precaution I'll put a parallel in there. Okay, here's my adjustable parallel, and I'm just going to slide that up under there. Till it touches. Set my magnet, and that's held in there tight. Okay. Yeah, that's right there. It's just touching. I'm going to use my mist coolant system on this. In order to keep my stones square on my rough cut, my step over is approximately the width of the stone. Like doing a plunge cut. See, I'm at a parallel a little bit. I just do this side. I'm going to finish my rough grinding, then I'll break. Okay, I've got the rough grinding done. Now I'm going to take it down 1,000 and do 100,000 step over. Okay, for the finish pass, I'm going down 5/10, and I'm going to do 50,000 step over. If you're observant, you'll realize that I did not do the top first, which is what I marked number 1. It really doesn't make that much difference, and the reason that I didn't is because the stone was already set to a height that was close to where I was going to be grinding, and I didn't want to have to crank it all the way up and then all the way back down. So we'll get to it. Okay, I'm going to turn it over now and grind the front surface. Okay. Taking it down 1.5 thousandths, because that should be pretty close. Taking 1/1000th off, 100,000th step over. Okay, here is the final pass, finishing pass, and I'm going 5/10 for the 50,000th step over. Took it over the surface plate and checked it, and I'm real happy. It's not absolutely precision square, but it is certainly close enough for what it is. So now it's time to grind the top. Okay, ready for the final grind. 5/1000ths with 50,000th step over. Finishes that up. Now I'm going to mount it on end to grind the ends. Okay, I've got it all set up. I put a magnetic transfer block behind it just to secure it. it's really very rigid here. So let's turn on the juice. Okay, now I'm going to 5/10 at a 50,000 step over. Okay, I'm going to take it off and I'll meet you over at the bench. I'm pretty happy with the finishes on it. I've got it all deburred and cleaned off, and now I'm going to attempt to heat blue it. And the only thing that I've got large enough to heat blue it in is my outside barbecue grill, natural gas barbecue grill. I've done it before successfully, so we'll give it a try. I've I've had several people ask me about dressing the side of the wheel. I do have a dresser that I could use that has an elevator on it that can go up and down, but this is just a simple dress, and I can use the I can just raise and lower it with the hand wheel. If you notice, you'll just see the edge being dressed, and that's because I've undercut the side of the wheel so that I'm just going to be cutting on the very edge. And I'm going to take one more. Okay. I'm going to take my diamond out. What I do when I side wheel is that I just leave about 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch of stone on the positive side so that I'm just cutting with the edge. Now, rather than use the diamond dresser, I use this dressing stick to hollow it out, and I do it manually. So I'm just leaving that edge to grind with. Now I'm going to put my chamfer block back in. I'm going to set that up, and I'll be grinding the flat, and I'll be side wheeling the right angle section, which is only about 3/4 of an inch wide. I didn't get the real nice dark blue that I was hoping to get on it. I got more of a steel gray color, but it's going to have to do. I'm just taking 1/1000 cuts. I'll bring you back when I'm ready to finish it. Well, I've got my grinding done, and I set up. Let's see how she runs. Beautiful. Well, there it is. That's about a 10,000th feed just to knock off the edge. I think that's going to wrap it up. Well, that's going to wrap up part 3 of the Tom Lipton Chamfer Fixture build. I'm not 100% happy with the final grind, and when I get some more time, I'm going to probably do some more finish grinding on the working surface. It's good, and it works just fine, but there's a couple of little spots that were low spots apparently that got missed, and I want to do a little bit more side wheeling on that top piece because that didn't come out exactly right. It's good, but it's not perfect. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so, and give me a good old thumbs up. And that's held in there tight. Oh, shoot. Well, that's going to wrap up part 3 of the Tom Lipton. That's going to wrap up part 3 of the Tom Lipton Chamfer build. Well, that's going to wrap up. That's going to wrap up part 3 of the Tom Lipton